Hello, everybody. My name is Paul.
And I'm Clayton.
And you're listening to the Beyond the Pool List podcast. Hello, everybody.
Episode 4.
We're 4. And hey, you remember last week when I was like, hey, we're borrowing some gear. Like, we will probably not sound good by the next episode. We got our own gear.
We bought it all.
So we got everything we need. We've got fancy arms, which I've actually never had before.
Yeah.
We've got all kinds of cool stuff, and we've got our Zoom recorder, and we got headphones, and we got XLR cables.
We got all the nerdy stuff. It's
yeah.
like a little studio in here now.
We literally have our own little studio in my living room.
Yeah. So thank you for providing all this.
Thank you for pitching in and helping us get this awesome gear. So now we sound like we're a real podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we had those 2 episodes that's like clearly recorded.
Right.
Watch us be up on the backup. Like watch something fail and we're on the backup.
Oh, speaking of that, maybe we should get the backup up and going.
You want to start over just in case?
No.
Okay. We're fine. We're good.
We don't need it.
Yeah, we have a backup recorder just in case. So again, if it sounds good, that means our equipment worked. If it does not sound good, then we're on backup. So But yeah, welcome back to the Beyond the Pool List. We've had what, 2 weeks since we last posted? We've had a lot of stuff happen. Do you want to talk about the thing that happened on call yesterday while we were on the phone?
On the call?
Yeah, we were on the phone and you were like, Paul, someone followed us.
Oh, we had Carrie Andrews follow us.
Yes, we did.
Yes. So.
If you don't know what he did Spider-Man Reign.
Mm-hmm.
And he did Spider-Man Reign 2, which I thought was probably the best comic book to come out before I started reading Absolute Batman.
Really?
Genuinely, I thought it was a very great sequel to the first one. I'm trying to think what else he's done. He did the Spider-Man. He did the art for Spider-Man and Wolverine.
Yes. He's
and
done, what was it, like an Amazing Fantasy reboot a few years ago? They did like a 1 issue. Captain America was like stranded on an island or something.
Yes. Yeah.
He did a Superman Spider-Man crossover for the last crossover.
Did he?
He did a cover for it. Not an interior art. He did a cover. It's really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Really? I'll have to show you after.
I'll have to look at that. But he followed us.
So that's awesome.
Super cool. But yeah, we've got some stuff to get into this week. We've definitely got some books. Today you're going to be hearing something that I'm very excited to finally be able to talk about. We're going to get into all our books, and then finally, we're going to hit our review. Our Invincible review is coming later at the end of the episode. So stick around if you want to hear that. We're reviewing this week's episode, which is episode 7?
I think episode 6.
And then last week was episode 5. So we're doing episodes 5 and 6, which...
Yes.
Man, get your spaghetti ready because we're going to be talking about that for a minute. So
we are also going to address Al Ewing comments.
Yes.
Because yesterday we posted on the Instagram account, if you don't follow us, Comic Nation 1776. Be sure to follow, like, comment, all that jazz. And if you go on there, we made a post yesterday titled Al Ewing, Why Are Fans Split? And we wanted to really have a conversation today because it's going to tie into a lot of the stuff we're talking about.
Yes.
And so we're going to address those comments.
Yes.
Is he a good writer? Is he a bad writer? We're going to be respectful, of course.
Right.
But we just really want to talk about stuff
I'm
like
going
that.
to try my very best to be respectful. If you don't know, I have been very mad at Al Ewing for a very long time.
I think there's at least 2 episodes that we have where
we definitely talked about it. I know and I've had to really reel it in and be like, okay, Paul, cool it off, pull it back. But today I talked to Clayton and I was like, we have to talk about this. Like, I don't think we can ignore this anymore. Like, it's time. We've got a lot of stuff happening with Death Spiral. And then, of course, which that kind of just gets into Venom as a whole, because that's the main thing with him going on right now. And I also want to talk about the future of that book with Queen in Black and what they're doing with it that I'm not super stoked about. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into that.
We'll get in on all that. But first, it's been a month since we kind of talked about the last things that we talked about. And so this week...
We now return to the Transformers.
As you can tell, we're going to talk about Transformers. I'm going to talk about Transformers because
Yes.
you're not reading it yet.
I'm still not reading it.
It
no.
is my goal now for the next couple episodes to convince you to finally read Transformers.
Well, you already told me that Clayton Crane did some variants for
He
it, so
did.
I think I might have to look in, because I love Clayton Crane's work, which we'll talk about that.
We'll
today a
actually
little bit
talk
too.
about that. We've got Clayton Crane over here.
Yeah, we got Clayton Crane's art on the table.
Yeah, not Clayton Crane physically.
No. Hey, Clayton, welcome to the pod. Both the Claytons that exist are here.
The only two.
The only two.
We're continuing that bit forever.
We should.
But anyways, we're going to talk about Transformers 31. It came out today because we're recording Wednesday. And I want to talk about a little bit about what's going on. And let's just jump into it. So Transformers 31 came out today, and I titled it The Trial of Megatron. Because if you remember, last time we talked about Transformers, we talked about Transformers 30, and Alita receives the Matrix of Leadership.
Yeah.
And she becomes Alita Prime. So this week, we're focusing on a different Matrix, which I didn't even know was a thing. Now, to be fair, I've not really read Transformer comics before, so this is kind of new to me.
And this is the Robert Kirkman.
This is Robert Kirkman, the creator of Invincible and The Walking Dead. He is writing this series.
Okay.
So this issue starts out on the ship that the Decepticons are on. If you've ever seen the 80s series, you know they got that ship underwater. That's their kind of base.
Yeah.
So they're there, and Megatron's having like a seizure. And so we go into what I assume is like his subconscious. And we're seeing him going through these trials. And he's having to accomplish different things, but he keeps getting tormented.
Okay.
And he's like, who are you? And he like literally gets ripped apart.
Yeah.
In these trials, and they said that you're not ready for that yet. So he just keeps getting tortured over and over, and these trials he's losing. And finally, one of the off-screen speakers says, "You wield the matrix of oppression, and that you're only people who dominate the weak can wield the matrix of oppression." And you've seen the Matrix of Leadership, right?
I know the Matrix is... Yeah.
Yeah, so this is like a spiky version of that. It's almost like crystallized. Anyways, Megatron goes through these trials, and he eventually finds in his subconscious, something that looks like a building that's made out of the Decepticon symbol.
Yeah.
So he walks in there, and he discovers that the person who's tormenting him is Megatron Prime. And so one of the original 13 Primes. And he's torturing him because he wants him to serve him. And the key to the matrix of oppression is that you must first realize that you yourself are oppressed. And so it's kind of an interesting take. And I don't know if this has ever been a thing before.
Yeah, I've never heard of it before.
I haven't either. So this seems like something new. And I really think this kind of gives a new layer to what we're about to see with Alita, because now we have Alita wielding the Matrix of Leadership. We have Megatron wielding the Matrix of Oppression. And so I really think in the next couple of issues, we're going to see these two Matrixes go to war. And if the Matrix is testing Alita like I think it is, she's going to fail against fighting Megatron.
Yeah.
And the Matrix will obviously go back to Optimus. So it was an interesting take.
I remember you saying that she had it, or Optimus gave it to her, or
kind
it
of
chose
like
her
a little
or something
trial.
like that. Yeah.
So we'll see where this goes. I think I'm excited for it, but my biggest problem with this issue is it felt so short.
Well, I guess that's a good thing. You're expecting more, but was it shorter than the last issue?
It felt much shorter than the last issue. And that could just be because maybe this was a story. See, I guess the problem with comics is that you only have that, 22 page count, and half of that's taken up by ads, I feel like.
Yeah.
So Robert Kirkman only had a few pages to really tell the story. He couldn't have told it last issue. So I think that's kind of why he had to put it in this one. And then we're now going to see this story progress a little bit more. But we wanted to see, okay, here's this Matrix, here's this Matrix, and where are we going to go from here?
Right.
And that's kind of it. That's all that really happened. He's going through these trials and gets the Matrix. I take that back. At the end of the issue, Megatron is laying on the floor of the ship, and they ask, what's happening?
Yeah.
And he's got these, crystals coming out of his chest. And they're like, he's transforming into something, but we don't really know what. And that's how it ends.
That's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, so maybe we might see a more... I mean, Megatron is already this brutal, almost vampire, cannibal, evil guy now in the comics. So what else could you do to make Megatron more evil if he's already eating Autobots?
Yeah.
So
he eats people.
I know, but that's all I have. Normally, I would also talk about Absolute Superman, which came out this week, but I did not get the opportunity to read it. So only Transformers this week for me.
Okay, and then did you have anything else come out?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a small little week for me.
Yeah, I also had a small week. Unfortunately, no Absolute Batman this week. We're drooling at the mouth to get one. I'm actually trying to get my hands on a freaking first print, and that's
You've had a little bit of an experience. We don't have to share that here, but
I have.
eBay scalpers are the worst.
Real quick, I was getting ready to buy one, and this guy had it listed for like 170 or best offer, and I reached out and I sent him an offer of 145, and I was just like, hey, if you want to work around that, like we can. I'm just throwing a number out there. He immediately declined it. So then I sent him another offer of 153, and I was like, hey, all right, round 2. And I sent him that, declined it again. When I checked it to send him a third offer, he put the price up $20.
Jeez, man.
And actually, before we started recording, he sent me an offer of it for $180, and I declined it because I'm like, nope, you've
lost your opportunity.
You've lost my business. But yeah, so I have a lot to talk about.
Paul, you do have a lot to talk about. Today is the day. Today is the day that you're going to hear Paul finally share his thoughts on Venom. He's been holding it back. We talked about Death Spiral a few weeks ago when it first launched.
Death Spiral, yeah.
And you were sharing your thoughts on that. But a lot has happened in Death Spiral that has kind of broken the internet.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We're just going to get straight into it.
Yeah.
Paul's dead.
Paul is dead. Not you, Paul.
Not me, Paul.
But the bad Paul.
Yeah, the other Paul. You know, there's 2 Pauls, and he's dead. Yeah.
So this made me think of something, and I meant to tell you the other day.
Uh-huh.
We made a bet onto the next Superman Spider-Man crossover if he's going to be in it. Remember? We were talking about we had to buy a meal, and he's dead, so we both lose the bet.
Well, he might. What if he still pops up in it?
I would be so mad.
He probably will. They totally already got those stories cracked out.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You know, so, I mean, maybe. But also, if Venom's in it, then I have to buy you dinner.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm hoping we both have to buy each other dinner or we both starve. Be like, I can't eat again.
But anyways, Paul is dead.
Yeah, Paul's dead.
Spider-Man didn't care.
Spider-Man did not care. He was just like, oh, dang. That sucks, LOL. And for some reason, Dylan. So, let me go through Death Spiral real quick. And let's do a little recap. Now we're doing a recap of parts 4, 5, 6, and 7. Which is again, it's a crossover between Venom and Spider-Man. So I think it's Amazing Spider-Man. I think it's had 4 of those issues, and then Venom had like 1 or 2.
Okay.
So. Real quick, what all's been happening is Spiral, which I no longer think is Cletus Cassidy. I don't think he's Cassidy anymore, because Carnage has been trying to find his way through Eddie to get to Spiral, so he can bond with him, because he likes that he's a mass murderer,
right?
And which I guess now that it's weird, because before they were texting each other, and I'm like, how did Carnage get his phone number?
That's a good point.
Because that's why I assumed. I was like, oh, it's probably Cassidy. Like,
right.
They know they're thinking the same because they're the same person. So I thought it was Cassidy. He finally makes himself present by attacking the relatives of Peter, which it did confirm that Shocker is apparently a relative of Mary Jane.
Really?
A distant, cousin relative, which is so weird.
That is weird.
That's super weird. And
has that ever been established before, or is that something new?
Not that I know of. I mean, maybe, but I don't think so.
What do you mean you're not deep into Mary Jane lore?
Because I don't want her to be Venom. She's not my Venom. Hashtag not my Venom. Actually, no, don't do that. I was gonna say on the Al Ewing post, hashtag not my Venom. So we get into this episode. We get into this issue, and the Carnage symbiote finally bonds with a Torment.
Okay.
And he makes it very clear, hey, here's the deal. Torment makes it clear to Carnage that we only kill we only kill people who are in the family.
Right.
And we have to do it by the order of the spiral. So we have to do it in the order of who's next of kin. So who's first, who's second, who's third. And it's weird because
that is weird.
Because Torment they try to bond with each other. Their plan gets foiled because Eddie Brock wakes up because Carnage put him to sleep when he tried to bond with him.
Right.
Eddie wakes up and kind of locks Carnage back in. And Torment just goes straight to MJ's house to kill Dylan. Which, again, doesn't make sense because you've got this thing of, didn't he just say that he has to go through the spiral? Which means he'd have to kill Eddie first and then kill Dylan?
Right.
But he does that. Dylan and Paul are playing Marvel Rivals.
Yeah,
which
I texted you when we were talking about it.
You did.
And I said, it's a crazy thought because the emote for Venom in Marvel Rivals is the Venom twerking. So imagine being able to play as your dad twerking on a video game that the world can see.
I hate that. I hate that thought so much. The notion of that is... Honestly, Paul would be doing it. But Paul was complaining because he was like, I wish they'd nerf Gambit.
Yeah.
Which is what we were thinking in the Superman Spider-Man issue. But I actually have a list of things that I kind of want to talk about in regards to Death Spiral.
Okay.
Because I'm actually going to get to the Rivals thing and the whole deal with Paul and everything else.
Sure.
And Paul dying.
Right.
So real quick, the first thing that I noticed in it was part 4 of Death Spiral. There is, how comic books have those things where it's like, oh, we have, we've got, like when text bubbles refer to a past event.
Yes.
It's got the little editor note that's like, hey, you want to hear about what she's talking about? Go back and read Venom War.
Yeah.
Which I don't recommend that at all. I hate Venom War. It's so bad. But in the caption, it says, read Venom War. And it says the editor who is saying this is Lore Lovin' Lowe, which I'm assuming they're talking about Nick Lowe, who's the main editor of Spider-Man. And, Lore Lovin' Lowe is a pretty intense title to give yourself when you're consistently getting the lore wrong. And I currently have 5 things within these past issues of Death Spiral that have been gotten wrong. The first one was that... they make it pretty clear. Well, first of all, Mary Jane literally is talking to Peter while they're swinging through the city. And Mary Jane's like, well, what happened is Eddie Brock was about to die and the Carnage symbiote was about to die. So they had to bond together to keep themselves alive after Venom War. How would Mary Jane know that? How would Venom know that? Neither one of them have any way to see or know that had happened. So
that's a good point.
In reality, it's like, okay, so Lore Lovin' Lowe doesn't realize who was there and who saw and who knows what.
Right.
Because Mary Jane's saying this stuff, and it's like, how do you even know that? You're not supposed to know that. Like, that's the biggest question that someone... now, Eddie might have said something to her. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure he did not.
But has Eddie and MJ been talking consistently?
They've barely spoke to each other.
Okay.
I know Flash Thompson has talked to her more because they're kind of dating or talking or whatever. But that was the first thing, and I was just like, that was the first inconsistency. The second one was the fact that Peter had said, like, oh, Carnage knows my identity because Carnage tapped into Eddie Brock's mind, and now, he knows that I'm Peter Parker. Well, actually, if you would have read... Absolute Carnage, especially issue 3, you would have known that that's where Carnage found out that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, because Carnage was pretending to be Eddie Brock, and Carnage and Peter's talking to Eddie about like, hey, when are you going to tell Dylan that you're his father? And the fake Eddie goes, oh, because Carnage just realized that that's his son.
Right.
And then the real Eddie is in the background going, wait, Peter, get away from him. And then the fake Carnage goes, Peter. And then transforms into Carnage. So right there is when, and I guess you could say like, maybe not, but right there he says it.
Right.
So right there you would at least know, he at least knows his name.
Yes.
But yeah, so Lore Lovin' Lowe didn't know that lore. I guess the YouTube video didn't explain that. So also another Lore Lovin' Lowe inconsistency is Carl Brock lives in San Francisco, not New York City. Because when Torment goes to kill Eddie Brock's dad, Carl Brock, he does it in New York City. And if you read Donny Cates' Venom run, which I'm going to refer to a lot because it is probably the best Venom run of all time.
Of all time. Post coming up soon about that.
Oh, yes, there is. I'm excited. Carl Brock does not live in New York City.
Right.
He lives in San Francisco. There was never a moment where he moved to New York City. So, like, the fact that he's here for the sake of this book means that someone didn't do their homework.
I want to say something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this isn't just you pulling up stuff just out of your butt. This isn't just, well, I think this.
Right.
You are the biggest Venom fan I have ever seen. Unfortunately,
Yes.
for your bank account, you buy all the covers half the time.
Yes.
You've almost collected the entire run of Venom from Amazing Spider-Man 300 to now.
I am missing in the total number of Venom issues. I'm missing, I think, 30 single issues out of the entire 200 and what number are we on? 200 and 256?
Yeah, something like that.
Like, I'm literally missing 30 issues, and it's just like little stuff from the 90s. Like,
Right.
it's not nothing pivotal.
But you've read those too. You're
Yes.
not just collecting them.
No,
just
I'm a huge. I've not read everything. I've not read every single thing, but I know a lot about everything that's happened. I've read Venom for literally ever. Like, he's been my favorite character. He is, like, I know yours is Superman, Spider-Man.
Right.
This is my Superman, Spider-Man,
Right.
Venom. So, like, seeing Venom in this whole new painted image that he has been in for the last 5 years.
Oh man, I didn't
is
realize that.
almost it's almost like it hurts because, like, I guess we're just gonna go and get into this. My main problem with Death Spiral, right? My main problem is, first of all, I'll give it credit. This story has felt the most like a symbiote story in this entire run, but it's also not a lot. Like,
Okay.
I told you on the phone the other day, I was like, the way I want to relate this is like finding a bone in a pile of shit. It's not shit, it's a bone, but it's like, it's still like, it's the best thing in the pile of shit because
Right.
it's not shit.
That is, I've never heard that analogy before.
I've heard that a lot. Yeah.
Okay, well, I've never
I'm good at analogies.
You are. Like sand in your toys in your sandbox.
Yeah,
And then what was you used one about fishing or something the other day.
I don't know, maybe. But literally, like, when you have this character who has been so pivotal to, like, Venom has always been a specific way. Right? He's always done certain things. There's always been rules to go with the symbiote and how the symbiote works. And I don't know if it's just the movies being a thing. I don't know if it's just that or what it is, but, like, it feels like everything is not the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
Right? Like, one of my other inconsistencies was the fact that they make it a point where Carnage leaves Eddie Brock. He hops off of Eddie to get on to Torment.
Right.
But Eddie starts dying because he's not bonded to a symbiote. And Carnage starts dying when he's not. And it's like, that's not how that works.
No.
Like, symbiote and host don't have to be completely bonded together in order to, like, for each other to live.
Right.
Right? Like, the symbiote, if you want to go back into, like, actual lore, the symbiote lived in the church alone for years before it, or not years, but months before it found Eddie.
Right.
And Eddie just came in and it was just like, oh, yep, I'm going to pick you.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that, like, the movies, because the movie set that up. Like, the
Right,
movie made
right.
the whole thing about, like, oh, well, if they're not symbiotic, they can't bond together because they'll kill each other.
Right.
And it's ruined the books because now all the editors are putting that in the books, and it's like, that's not how that works.
That's
like,
never-
Venom bonds to whoever it wants. If that was
Right.
the case, then how come Venom can bond with Spider-Man and Hulk and
We talked about this.
and
What was,
Wang?
what
and,
was that event that came out a couple years ago? Was it Venom Carnage USA?
Carnage USA?
We were talking
Yeah.
about that one when we were talking about this before this episode. That in that book, Carnage bonds to, like, everybody.
He bonds
Captain
with
America, the
Hawkeye,
Thing.
the Thing, Captain America. I don't know if Iron Man
Was it Wolverine too?
I think Wolverine. Yep,
Yeah.
Wolverine was in
So
it.
you're telling me all these heroes have this specific genetic marker that Carnage can bond to without killing them? And
Yeah.
then why is it that Carnage can leave them and they're perfectly fine?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a really bad plot trope. Symbiotes, they bond to whoever they want. It's like, hey, I want to bond with you because that's why the symbiote liked Spider-Man so much, was
Yes.
because Spider-Man was the only, was a person that it could bond to, that it's not having to do all the work. It's actually amplifying something good that's already there.
Right.
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 And now Venom is different because Venom is like, a mixture of Eddie Brock hates Peter Parker for ruining his life, or hates Spider-Man for ruining his life, and the symbiote hates Peter for ditching it.
Right.
So you have two negatives now conjoining to make a super negative.
Yeah.
That's
math.
you know, yeah, that's math. That's how math works.
Yeah.
Negative makes big negative.
And that is why I failed math.
Yeah, that is why I am not a mathematician. But it really irks me that like these people who are in charge of all of this stuff and I'm trying to not blame Al Ewing, which we're going to get into that too.
We're going to get into that.
You know, because I feel like he's responsible for a lot of it too.
I think he is.
But also I don't think it's fully him. I think it's other people too. But again, we're going to get into that. But like among our books on the table, I have All New Venom #1, and I also have Venom 200. And I put these both out because I wanted to kind of look at both of them as a comparison to like what we had versus what we have now. Right. You have Donny Cates, who wrote Venom as a character,
as a king,
and a king. Like and what was so good about this book, right, is that Eddie was nothing. Right. He was low. He was worthless. He was like he was always homeless, and he was always asking for help, and he was just always not doing the right thing.
Right.
Just because he doesn't know how to take responsibility. And this book grows and grows and grows into him like having to fight his demons and to learn more, like find out that he has a brother, then realize it's not his brother, it's his son.
Right.
And then like having to be a father without like all this stuff. And you know, like you've got that and you've got Null, and it's just like that run was so perfect. And I think that spoiled me because now I'm just like, I want more of what that was.
Right.
Because you took Venom, who was a Spider-Man villain, and you made him a cosmic entity.
Yes.
Right. You made him a force that's just like, he is his own thing now.
Right.
And Marvel saw that and went, oh, he's his own thing now.
Yeah.
Time to put my hands in on it. You know?
Ching, ching, ching.
Yeah, ching. But like it I don't know, man. But like going back to Death Spiral, you know, Lore, Love, and Low, which I called it Low Hanging Low. Lore Hanging Low is what I called it. My bad. Lore Hanging Low because he doesn't get any of the freaking lore correct.
Right.
There's one part where Carnage has heart eyes. He's got little heart googly eyes, which is not a
cartoonish style, or like he forms his eyes into hard eyes.
It's like cartoon style.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's not Carnage. You know, Carnage is.
This is one of those things that we were going to talk about too, especially when we get to the Al Ewing comments, is that Venom is not necessarily a goofy. Venom is not a goofy character.
He has he has goofy moments.
Okay.
There are definitely moments of him being goofy, and that's like the fun of it is that he's not this giant monster all the time. He can be goofy, but the thing about like Donnie's run is the fact that Venom was like everything had purpose. Right. You know, and looking at it, especially from like a filmmaker's point of view, and like me being a writer and stuff, like everything that book had purpose.
Yes.
You know, you have like one of the things Donny Cates said that I'll never forget is when he was talking about the book, he said it's always raining. It's always raining in this book because I want this to not feel like it's like, yes, it's a part of 616. Yes, it's a part of the main universe, but I want it to feel like it's its own world. Like, I don't want people to read this and be like, oh, what's Hulk doing? No, I want people to fully be invested in Venom and Eddie Brock. And he said, it's not like a cool rain. It's hot. It's nasty rain.
Okay.
You know, it's sticky.
Yeah.
He said, like, it should feel uncomfortable. Eddie should always feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And
he was like, and the suit, like Venom isn't this big thing because he said he specifically told Ryan Stegman, who was the artist of the book, to really tighten down on the way that, like, don't forget there's a man in there. There's a guy in that suit, you know, so like, let's see Venom, but also let's not forget that there's a person back there.
Right.
He said that's why he has the mask pulled back a lot when Eddie's talking, is so like you see that Eddie is this, but the way the symbiote and Eddie communicate is just so real. The way, like, you know, he's having these awful visions of Null and this dark entity and the creator of, like, he was the first being to exist in the universe, and he was a celestial killer. Yeah. Like, that's the most insane lore for Venom ever.
Yeah.
And I know I'm jumping all over the place. I'm hopping back and forth, but like, I guess we can just go ahead and get into it. Like, Venom as a whole, because like what is coming out now is just not Venom.
Right.
You know, they put Paul in the book, and yeah, Paul died, and I kind of like, I know you have a theory that he's coming back.
Well, that's the rumor right now. Is
Yeah.
the rumor is that Paul is going to come back and be a mutant, and that he's actually going to move from the Spider-Man book to the X-Men book.
Which I'm sure the X-Men fans aren't.
Oh
They're
yeah, I'm
like,
sure X-Men fans are like, "Are you kidding me right now?
Gotta get rid of him. We don't want this guy." Yeah, no. Yeah.
So that's the rumor right now, is that he's this, because the way he dies is Torment stabs him
Yeah.
in the stomach, and he lays down on the ground and he dies.
He gets stabbed. He tells Dylan to run. He's like, "Dylan, get out of here."
Yeah.
And then MJ, Peter, and Carnage break in. It's like a big splash page of them all breaking through the door.
Yeah.
And then Eddie Carnage is naturally like, "Where's Dylan?" And then MJ, for some reason, is like, "Paul, are you okay?" It's like, you don't like him,
Right.
Why are we acting like these heroes care about this character who clearly they haven't? Like,
Right.
even Dylan, right? Like, well, before we get to Dylan, like MJ starts to help. Like, she's like, "Paul, are you okay?" And he's like, "No, I'm just don't worry about me. Just
Yeah.
like, go help Dylan, go stop this guy." And Peter's just like, "Oh, that sucks. You're dying." You know, which is
Right.
totally in Spider-Man's.
Oh yeah, that's
moral house.
exactly how
That's
Spider-Man would
exactly,
act.
yeah. That's how Spider-Man has always been. Good for editorial.
Even if you remember back to when
Kidding.
Dan Slott was writing,
Mm-hmm.
Peter took a bullet for Green Goblin.
That's true.
So, but he's gonna let the guy who who stole his girlfriend just die.
He's like, "You've robbed me too much."
Yeah, you who killed my girlfriend, I'm gonna save your life and prevent you from dying. But you who stole my girlfriend, now you can die.
No, you can just die.
Yeah, yeah, that's totally Spider-Man.
Yeah. And you know, so and of course, I think they killed Paul mainly because they wanted to be like, "Okay, everybody, we have hear ye, we have an announcement. If you read the next Venom book, Paul Rabin is dead." I know, he is dead, but hang on, but he might come back. Oh. I think that, I don't know. It kind of felt like it was forced.
Right.
I was kind of I was really wishing he would just do his own thing. He would just be like, "You know what? I'm leaving. Like, I'm just done. This character doesn't deserve a death. This death is not meaningful. It's just, you should not be jumping up and down when a character dies because you don't like that character.
Right.
And it's not that this guy's a bad guy. It's just, he's a character no one likes him.
Right. And that was, I think, where your point was going to, because this is what we were talking about before we recorded, that Al Ewing has been praised because he has broken up MJ and Paul.
Yep.
He has now killed Paul, and for the cover, I think it's Venom 258, and I could be totally wrong on that, maybe 257, something like, is Peter and MJ walking on a bridge in Central Park.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're kind of flirting.
Yeah.
So people are like, well, we have to give Al Ewing credit because he broke him up, he killed Paul, and now he's opening the door again for Peter and MJ to get back together.
Yeah.
But is that enough to really save the rest of the stuff that he's done about Venom?
I don't think so. I think Paul and MJ, because again, that was, I didn't read Zeb Wells' Spider-Man run.
Okay.
And I want to put this out here. I don't think this is hot take. Hot take. I don't think Zeb Wells is a bad writer. I think his Spider-Man run was not good, but he has wrote some very good other stories. He wrote Carnage USA.
Oh, really?
Yes, he wrote Carnage USA. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive. Let me just fact check that real quick.
Well, I'm if that's a hot take, I'm right there with you. I don't think Zeb Wells is a bad writer.
It.
Okay.
He wrote Carnage USA. He wrote Venom Dark Origin, which was really good.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what else he's wrote.
Then he's not. I wouldn't say he's a bad writer. Maybe Spider-Man just wasn't his. Some writers have characters that they're just so good at writing.
Yeah.
Scott Snyder for Batman, for example.
Donny Cates Venom.
Yeah. So they're just really good at that. And then some of them they don't do so hot with.
Yeah.
And that's not a hate on them necessarily. It's just I couldn't write Venom well.
Yeah.
At all. You could write a Venom story 100 times better than whatever I could come up with.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's just people in general.
I couldn't write a Captain America story.
Well,
You kill that.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, in a good way.
Yeah. Well,
You're like, you don't know you could write a Captain America?
I'll kill him again. No, I'm just kidding.
You'll make him Hydra Cap.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. This podcast is over.
He just gets up and leaves. He's like, yeah, you know what? I'm done. I'm leaving. But
I don't know. That would be a lot of pressure, honestly, for me.
Yeah.
If I was to try to write a Captain America story.
What would be a book you could write? Superman?
I would want to try to write Superman. I think Superman would probably be the easiest character for me, but I really think I think a Superman or Captain America would honestly, they would be the stories that I would want to tell, but they would be the hardest story to tell because I have so much love and respect for those characters that I want to give it such a great justice that I would be afraid I would not even write the story that I would want to tell.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think, I think stories should be, I like it when stories take a leap that's like, whoa, I didn't expect that. Like, I'm going to say it. I think MJ being a host of Venom could be very interesting. Okay. And I think that could work really well, but I don't think it is. I think it's written to be very poorly, and there are a lot of things missed that's like, and we'll get into that, but like there's a lot of things missed that like it just doesn't work. I think it like, especially with Donny Cates, right? Like Donny Cates was a very big fan of Venom. When he got on at Marvel, he said, I want to write 2 books. There's 2 books that I want to write, Thor and Venom. Those were the 2 books he said. They didn't give him Thor right away, but they did Venom. Right. And he took it and he planned this big thing, and he didn't think it was going to last long. He's like, I'm going to write it, and then if it just gets cut off, then I'll conclude it. But I'm going to write this big thing. And he said, I don't want to do this with failure in mind. I want to do the best I can and see if it gets out. But I think a lot of these writers, especially like Al, like with Venom, it feels like Al he's just writing every week. Right. He sits down, he writes the issue, he's done. He sits down, he's like, okay, what happened last week? Okay, well, now I'm going to do this. And he doesn't really have, like, he has an idea of where to go. Right. Because, now we're going, we're doing Death Spiral. Then after that, we're doing Queen in Black, which is literally stolen from Marvel Rivals. Right. Like, that's not a joke at all. It's literally stolen because they did it first. Right. And so I don't know. I just, like, I think, like, Donny Cates, like the thing that made him so good, or even like Scott Snyder, is I think when you're working with an editorial who's super like clingy with these characters, because Venom is now part of the Spider-Man editorial office. When Donny Cates was writing Venom, it was not. It was its own. It was its own thing. Oh, okay. It had its own editorial. Yeah. Oh, okay. It meant that like when Donny Cates was writing this book, he would get people being like, hey, we can't really do this. Right. But Donny Cates would fight. He'd be like, he wouldn't fight, but he'd be like, well, can we at least do this? Like, we got to find a middle ground. He would try to find the middle ground. Okay. And I think a lot of writers don't. I think they just go, okay, and then they just like water it down completely. They pour a gallon of water on a plant and just hope it survives and it dies. Right, right.
So I was going to say, like, you're hitting something there with Donny Cates is that you can tell Donny Cates sat down and he had a vision for what he wanted to do with Venom. And with Al Ewing, I'm not saying when a new writer hops on a book that they have to immediately pick up where this last writer left off. But it felt like Al did, and then he's like, but I don't like this, so I'm just going to erase everything you just did and do my own thing. And that's like the problem of the main two, Marvel and DC, is that these characters in these stories, they go on and on and on forever. That you might have character growth in one story arc, like Donny Cates' Venom. You might have this progression from nothing to being the King in Black. But then when another writer takes over, they can just erase, they can character assassinate everything that the last writer did and just start all over. And I think that's kind of what Al's doing, because you got to think, when Donny Cates left, Venom was in a great spot.
Venom was.
He is the king of all symbiotes.
Yeah. You had him being the King in Black. Null was dead. You had Dylan now like being there to be his son. Right. You have Flash Thompson, who's alive. He came back to life, and now he's Agent Anti-Venom again, trying to find his way in the world since he's been dead for so long. Right. You have anti-symbiote soldiers who are now out, like looking for symbiotes because now this is a big worldwide threat. Right. And like you even have politics involved because like there was another story that came after this after Donny Cates' Venom run called Extreme Carnage, which really literally focused on the politics of, hey, like I'm an anti-symbiote president and we're not doing this and like stuff like that. So you have all that to work with, right? And he had a good idea. Like his Venom run, when it started out, it was good. Like it had some good concepts, but it was good. And then I noticed that kind of keeping reading, it kept telling the same story from different perspectives.
Okay.
So the whole premise of the new book was that Eddie gets stuck in there's two separate books kind of going on. You've got Eddie in space and you've got Dylan on Earth.
Right.
Dylan is on Earth being Venom. Eddie's in space being Venom. Mm-hmm. But immediately the book starts out with a problem. Al Ewing is like, remember what I told you, Dylan, never bond with the symbiote. The last issue of Venom 200 of Donny Cates, Eddie Brock gives the symbiote to Dylan. He says, I'm going to be doing King and Black stuff in space. And he aged. He progressively aged because that symbiote power, that cosmic energy was just really wearing down the human body.
Right.
So he's aging and he gives it to Dylan. He goes, Dylan, you are going to be the Venom on Earth that I cannot be. I am now called to do a greater thing. But he's doing it from Earth, so he's not actually leaving. He's just sending his psyche out to do things. And he literally gives him the suit and says, you are Venom. And he gives it this new look. He gives him chains, which is a Spawn reference. He has instead of the spider on his chest, it turns into a dragon, Null's chest. So Venom is now separated from Spider-Man.
Right.
He is his own.
Right.
And he is now going to carry this on his own. As soon as the next book starts, like, none of that means anything. And it's just, it immediately just like, did you guys not talk to each other?
Right.
Did Donnie not tell you how this was going to end? And like, you work that in to begin. Because like, if I'm picking up Venom, the first thing I want to say is, hey, you've got 6 more books coming out before my first issue comes out.
Right.
What happens in those 6 books? Because I need to know. And then you work with that info and then move forward. But
there's no coordination.
There was no coordination.
It's just a total jump.
Yeah. And then the book, it had like a story. It had places it was going to go.
Yeah.
But then it was just repeating. It's like, okay, I've read this from 4 different perspectives.
Right.
When are we going to further the plot? And then it just, like, things are introduced that just never come back. And then you had Dark Web. When that happened, that set the whole book. I think that's what messed up that run of Al Ewing's Venom. But long story short, the book kind of turns into a funny wrestling book.
Yes,
and
I remember.
The tone completely changes, and then we get the whole who's Venom?
Yeah.
We have an all new Venom, and then we find out it's Mary Jane, which was like, it got spoiled before the book even came out because everybody posts it, and the variant cover listings on the websites were popping up saying Mary Jane cover, Mary Jane secret variant, Mary Jane is Venom variant, and it's just like, oh, okay, so we don't need to know who it is. I don't know. It's just it's the buildup of this character really sucks because I don't know what Venom is anymore. Venom is everything but Venom. Because Donny Cates took him, made him 1,000 times bigger and more interesting than I could have ever imagined Venom being.
Right.
And now I'm even more like, oh my gosh, I love this so much.
Yeah.
Like, he has wings now, and there's this immense like lore to the symbiotes and where they come from, and like Clintar, like, it's not a planet, it's a cage. Like there's these plot twists, these like rewrited plot twists that were just so epic. And I don't know. It's just now. It's all meaningless. Venom is just an alien that is on you, and Venom, I don't know. It's not what it used to be.
Null's back.
Null's back, and he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Like he's becoming this. Like he comes back from literally nowhere. Like, it makes no sense where he came back. And I actually began writing my own story of like what would happen from Venom. If I got Venom after 200, what would I have done? And I immediately started writing it. And I also brought Null back, but I was going to bring it back excruciatingly slow.
Okay.
I know this is like side tangent, like, oh, this is my fan fiction. But I would have brought it back super slow and just have like, okay, in that last moment before Null died, he moved his conscience to one symbiote.
Right.
And just said, I'm just going to hide. Like, you have to hide and leave.
Yeah.
And then I was going to have Carnage come back because, like, think about this. Carnage is pissed. Like, Carnage brought Null back, and Null failed.
Right.
Carnage is probably like, dude, what the heck?
Right.
Like, I did this, and you failed. You are a loser.
Right.
And then maybe he would take up the mantle. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, like, it sucks because apparently Al wanted Venom because
really?
Donny Cates had said to Al, like, hey, I want, like, oh, I love your Hulk run. I hate that it's ending. Like, I'd love to write that. And then Al's like, oh, I hate that you're ending your Venom run. I like that. And then they stopped and they went to the editor and was like, hey, can we just swap? And they went, yes. Because they saw dollar signs. And then, of course, both books flopped. Well, because Al got or Donnie got in his car accident,
Right.
and then that stopped Hulk from being written, and then Al just started taking crack halfway through the writing process. I don't know. Do we want to go ahead and get into Al talk? Because I think we're there. Like
I think we're there.
We've got some comments to
I
read.
think you already know Paul's take because he just threw Al Ewing.
I just vomited all this information.
We're going to be respectful. Al Ewing, you're smoking crack.
Al Ewing, you suck at everything.
So I think the best way for this to work, because you are more opinionated on Al Ewing and Venom than I am.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best way for this to happen is for me to read some of these comments and let you respond to them.
Okay.
And I think that's just the best way because
Yeah.
Al Ewing is not touching any of my books right now. So
Be
I don't
happy.
have any strong opinions.
Yes.
So let's get into it. So this first person
Okay.
says, I'm just here to praise Immortal Hulk. After a very long hiatus on comic books, Hulk blew my mind. It is a masterpiece, in my opinion.
Okay. Now that's something. Now, like, that's been the hardest thing with. I have not read Immortal Hulk. I have.
Oh, I thought you have.
I have not. I borrowed it for a while, but I never fully. I read a bit of it, and
Okay.
I did like it. But the problem for me was I was so mad at Al at the time because of Venom
okay.
that I was having a hard time reading it, and my problem is that like I don't hate that book. The concept seems super cool.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Universal monster movie,
Right.
right? And I think Hulk that's a really cool cover to put with Hulk, right?
Yeah.
My problem is with Al being Venom, and this is one of the first things that I noticed was that like a lot of the time when I would be like, his book on Venom sucks. Like, why does this suck?
Right.
Everybody's like, what are you talking about? He's a great writer. He wrote The Immortal Hulk. And I'm like,
Yes.
okay, but this sucks. I'm not enjoying this book. Like, why is all this stuff not right? You know?
Right.
But again, I haven't read Immortal Hulk. I know you said it was
I
good.
did read Immortal Hulk, and I actually enjoyed it. It was... I've never really been a Hulk. I mean, growing up, I liked the old Hulk movies, and, you know, so I liked it as a kid. But I never really sat down and read Hulk comics. I thought it was a good run. It was not like my favorite, but I would say if somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I want to read Hulk comics. What should I read?" Well, the only one I know is Immortal Hulk.
Yeah.
So that's the one I would recommend. If there's a better Hulk story out there, I don't know what it is. Planet Hulk is good, but I've only seen the animated movie. I've never read the comic.
Right.
So I guess you have to give him credit, Al Ewing credit there, that Immortal Hulk was and is considered the best Hulk story.
But maybe Hulk is in his wheelhouse, right?
Right.
Like maybe
what we've been talking
like
about.
yeah, like the way Donny Cates is with Venom, you know, like maybe Al was like, yeah, I think Hulk is really cool. I think, you know, because Al's kind of an old guy, right?
Yeah.
Like it's very clear that he's an older guy. So
Yeah.
he a lot of his writing consists of like old dialogue and you know, like he says things that's like I've never heard someone say that. Like
Right.
like you're old like from SpongeBob. But like and something like that Hulk run where it's like a monster movie. I'm
Right.
sure he grew up with Frankenstein.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure he
Yeah.
grew up with the monster of the Black Lagoon.
Right.
Of like you know, Dracula, like all
Yeah.
those old school monster movies, The Invisible Man, like
Right.
all those things I'm sure really like fueled into that. So that's cool, but when you're doing something cosmic horror like Venom, and then you try to interweave movie things, and then you try to interweave like zombiotes, like it's like, what is your, and you actually mentioned a long time ago that his Sodom and Gomorrah was his inspiration for Venom.
Yes, I do believe
That was something said somewhere.
So I have League of Comic Geeks, the app where you maintain you put in your comic collections. You can mark what comics you've read, yada yada yada. And there's a little community on there, and every so often they will do an Ask Me Anything, and they'll have on a big writer. And one of those was Al Ewing, and it's been a few weeks. I've slept since then. You know, we're about to have a baby, so there's a lot that has happened since then. So I could totally botch this now, but if you go back to that Ask Me Anything, it's one of the things that Al Ewing apparently responded to and said that his inspiration for Venom, I believe, was the story of Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible, which, for those who don't know, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible is a city so wicked that God sent fire and brimstone down from heaven to wipe out this city that he viewed as an abomination for the sins that they were committing. So I don't really know how you can make this connection with Venom here, unless you have an idea.
The only thing I could think of is he hated how dark the book was getting and how like, oh, this it's getting so wicked because it's getting far away from Spider-Man. Like Venom is now not as close to Spider-Man as he used to be, and he's his own character. Let me just ruin everything.
Yeah, I mean that's the only way. I don't know. It's
that
a
might
strange...
not be it. Yeah, but he never explained why or what it was. But there's nothing in any of the books that has a theme like that.
No, honest, like a good book usually has a theme,
Right.
and I don't see one from what I have seen of All New Venom, and I don't think you have probably seen a theme either.
It just feels like All New Venom and Venom right now, because it's not All New Venom anymore. It's just Venom,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's still like it still has this title card. You know,
Okay,
it's
yeah,
not
right.
like it's still the same thing.
Right.
It feels like it's just all the characters that you didn't like in the Spider-Man run. I'm gonna put them all in the Venom book and just let them do their thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
just like it's like a chain with a giant steel ball on it, sinking Venom to the bottom of the freaking ocean.
So speaking of that, when we were just talking about Immortal Hulk, the next comment is kind of split.
Okay.
Somebody says, as a Hulk and Venom fan, I'm genuinely torn. I loved his Immortal Hulk run, but his work on Venom was divisive even before Mary Jane became the symbiote's host. Venom War and its setup pretty much deconstructed everything Eddie did and how he changed during the Absolute Carnage King in Black run.
Yes.
And Mary Jane becoming the new host had seemingly cemented this bad reputation for Eddie, despite how much of a hero, flawed and all, he's become over the years.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I fully agree with that because that was the thing, is that like Eddie knows he's very flawed. Like he
Yes.
knows he's a very flawed person. And that was what Donny Cates' Venom was really emphasizing, was that like he is a flawed person. But like even at the end, like King in Black #5, which was probably one of my favorite issues out of the whole series,
Yeah.
is when he picks up Mjolnir and Silver Surfer's board that's been transformed into a sword, and he combines them to make this huge symbiote axe.
Yeah.
And he's got the Enigma Force inside
Yeah.
of him. And it was this moment of like, for the first time through this whole thing, we've seen Eddie just always be like, always have the short end of the stick. He's always like, you know, it's pitiful. I mean,
Right.
it's almost like he's homeless, right?
Yes,
Like it's almost
yes.
like he's a homeless person just trying to make it, and he's got this symbiote in him. And then on top of all of it, at the end, like he becomes on top, and he's the most powerful Marvel character. So it's like you see the homeless man become rich for a moment,
Right.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, like it was just this amazing moment. So like all of those flaws that was really emphasized and really leaned upon on that run were gone.
Right.
Even the fact that Eddie Brock was old was undone immediately. Like that didn't stay. And like I wanted to see that, right?
Yeah.
I want to see Eddie Brock. Like he's old. What happens? How does this affect Dylan? How does being Venom affect Dylan, right?
Right.
Like you've got Venom, who is a very negative, eating, emotional symbiote, which I know Donnie's didn't really lean on that, but like what if this next part did?
Right.
What if we focused on that? And what if Dylan's got these anger issues, and he's got like because he
Grew up with that dad, too.
Well, he grew up with Dylan Brock, or
Right.
not Dylan. He grew up with Carl,
Right.
who was abusive. So literally all that abuse that Eddie's gotten, Dylan has gotten too. So we see that in him, and maybe the symbiote feeds on it, right? Maybe the symbiote leans into it because it's some kind of a dopamine rush or something. I don't know. It's just like all of these things that would have been so good to see that were left undone were just thrown away. It was all
Yeah.
gone, and the book just became a space book.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Well, he was also Al Ewing, I think, was writing Guardians of the Galaxy around the same time, right?
Well, and there you go.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to talk quick about is something you keep talking about with Donny Cates' Venom. You see Eddie go from a homeless man to being the King in Black.
Yeah.
Having nothing to essentially having the entire universe. And so this is a theme that we have been talking about on our Instagram.
Yeah.
About how great stories point to the greatest story ever told.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a theme that we are seeing here even in Venom. And I think a story that is great is essentially pointing us back. And I'm not saying these stories are inherently Christian.
Right.
That they're not Narnia, they're not
Right,
Lord of the Rings,
right.
But they're central themes, they're central motifs, they're central archetypes that we see in these stories that are played out that point us back to Christ.
Right.
and Eddie being low, just as Christ was just a humble carpenter.
Yeah.
And eventually his exaltation, glorification after his resurrection.
Right.
That's a progression. That's a story arc that is mirrored in Christ.
Yeah.
But then...
Which Eddie did die, and
Right.
when he was dead, the Enigma Force is what revived him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was being raised back to life again,
Yeah.
pointing us back
Yeah,
to Christ
yeah.
even more.
Yeah.
So that's why that's such a great story, because it's a great story that points back to the greatest story ever told.
Yeah.
And these things are written on our hearts. This is why we continue to tell stories about sacrifice, about mercy, about death and resurrection, and going from a low point to being exalted, just as Christ was. And this is not anything we're seeing, and I'm not saying every great story, but I think, and I believe every great story does point back to the greatest story ever told.
I agree. I think even if it's not like, I know you made a post about Invincible.
I did make a
and
post about
we can definitely talk about that in a little bit.
Yes.
But I think that all stories have that, they lean on that, you know.
Yes.
Like I work at a church, and you know we just got through with Easter week, Holy Week, and one of the things that like I learned through all of that, and I had like told my pastor, I was like, you know, hey, like this is literally like a superhero story, you know, like I feel like I've seen this story throughout superheroes, and it's not like directly, right? Like
No,
like
of course
Venom is not Jesus by any means.
Right.
Eddie Brock is not Jesus by any means, and the King in Black is not a symbol of God for sure.
Right.
But like you can see how you can just see like going from nothing to becoming something.
Right.
Right. And like, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So this is it's literally studying archetypes throughout history, and this is kind of really not what we're talking about here, but it's with the Al Ewing and people's opinions on Al Ewing. But this is just what I believe, what you believe. It's pointing us back to an objective truth.
Yeah.
And that truth is that Jesus Christ is God who came in human flesh.
Yeah.
And was crucified for our sins. You don't see Venom be crucified for our sins. That's not what we believe, but it's got a central theme that has been told over and over and over again. And you know, when I first became a Christian, I told my friend, I said, you almost need to be a comic book fan before you become a Christian.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? That makes no sense. And I said, because when you read the Bible and when you do all this stuff, like and you've read comic books is your background. You're
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I see these stories. Death of Superman, for example, he dies and then comes back. It's a good man who was, you know, killed for everybody else. He was the only one who could defeat the enemy. Or you see this, and it's like when you read the Bible and you have this imagery, like you can only picture it in comic book form. Almost when Jesus is taken down from the cross and he's put into the tomb, it's like to be continued almost.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And even, and we're not the only people, we're not just saying this because we're Christian or whatever, or I have a Bible podcast or whatever.
Right.
But like people like Zack Snyder, who did Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman.
Right.
I was surprised to see on Good Friday, he had posted 2 images.
Yeah.
And the first
I saw
images
this,
was
yeah.
the painting of Jesus being taken down from the cross. And this is his inspiration for Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
After Superman is pierced by Doomsday and dies, they're literally pulling him down.
Yeah.
Just the same way the painting portrays Jesus being taken down from the cross.
Yeah.
So it's not that we're saying Superman is Jesus either.
Yeah.
We're just saying these themes
You
point
can
us back.
you can see a resemblance in
Yes.
these things. Yeah.
So
That's a good point though.
Yes.
I'm glad because I didn't think about that. Yeah.
And that's why I think Venom
Yeah.
is a great story pointing back to the greatest story.
Yep.
But so people are also
Back to the
saying-
guy who writes the not greatest stories.
right, Al Ewing. So some people who are arguing with you and saying that
Right.
Al Ewing is actually a great writer. Somebody is saying Ewing is the only one giving classic superheroes and comics writing style really on point.
What does that mean?
I'm assuming what they're talking about is that they're giving them that Al Ewing is giving comic books style that they've never had before.
Well, maybe it's like an OG style. I mean, it
Maybe.
definitely, a lot of the books read like their old books.
Okay.
Like they read like that. That's why I don't like it.
Is that okay? So I was about
Yeah.
to say, is that a good thing or
I think
a bad thing?
it can be. I think it depends on the character.
Right.
Like Venom doesn't need that. I
Right.
don't think Venom needs an old school writing style.
No.
I think Venom needs like a new writing style, right? Like actually, if you read Lethal Protector, Venom, like Eddie Brock, like usually when Eddie Brock is Eddie and he's talking to the symbiote, you can see a black text bubble of what the symbiote is saying in his head.
Yeah.
in those books, that didn't exist. That actually never really came around till like, I could be wrong, but I want to say Space Knight is when that really started. Which it feels really late in the game, but I just there's a lot
around
of books,
that time.
maybe, and there's a lot of times where Venom, when Eddie does talk to, he still talks to the symbiote, but he just talks to it, and that's it. You don't hear what the symbiote is actually saying to him. You just get insight based on what he says.
Yeah.
So like, I think again something like that benefits a story like this better than like the old writing style. So like, I would go with that. And plus, we're not in the 19 whatevers anymore.
Right.
This is 2026.
Right.
I'm old. Anyway.
So we're going to also jump around. Another person says, and going along the same note, is that the cheesy dialogue seems appropriate for comics without it seeming forced or overly sappy, and his focus on mythology adds a lot of depth to the characters. I really like his pre-MJ Venom run.
See, like, it was okay, but it fell off, right? Like, what, like, how can you, I don't know. My question is, like, how can you like that story when halfway through it literally just becomes nothing? Right? Like, the whole point of that story was Eddie was stuck in a time loop in this garden, this symbiotic garden, and he was destined to become, like, there's all these other symbiotes, right? They're all other King in Blacks, and all of these other King in Blacks are different points of Eddie from different points of time. So you have Bedlam, which is a point of Eddie from his, like, all rage, right? Like, he was all about killing Spider-Man. That's that point of Eddie. And then there's I don't remember the other one's names, but like all these different Eddies from different points of his time.
Okay.
And the main premise was that Eddie is going to slowly, even like no matter what he does, he is slowly evolving to Bedlam. Then he's slowly evolving to this guy. Then he's slowly evolving to this guy. And then finally he's going to end as Meridius, because Meridius was also Eddie Brock.
Okay.
And where this gets messed up is in Dark Web, because in the middle of Dark Web, one of the other symbiotes was like, hey, you do know that like you can phase to a different symbiote from like a different point of like a different realm, right? And he's like, oh, and then he pulls out of the time loop right there. Like it's like, okay, well, the whole thing that you've been setting up and you've been like, because that's why I was okay with the fact that we were seeing those same scenes again, because we were seeing it like, it would show a big scene with all of the Venom characters in it. And like something would happen with one of them, or like one would panic and then Bedlam would try to kill that one or something. But then as Eddie was evolving, you was seeing those same scenes as him as the character, because he's slowly evolving in this time loop.
I see.
And that's why I was okay with it, because I was like, okay, we're going to see it again and again because it's a time loop.
Right.
But then when it just, he teleports off to some weird like ochre land or something, and whatever.
What are you doing in my swamp?
What are you doing? Yeah, he's in like a little glass jar.
Yeah.
And like it was like, okay, so the time loop isn't a thing, I guess.
Right.
And then like,
that seems like an easy out. Like,
and in Dylan being able to harness some weird symbiote power to become Codex again.
Yeah.
Because Codex was in Donny Cates' run.
right.
That doesn't make sense, because Codex is a future version of Dylan. How can he just transform into that?
Right.
Like he's a symbiote. That's not what that is. And again, it started making me read, when I was reading that run, I was like, there's that. What is this? What is that? And then it just got to the point where it was like, it was introducing old characters. Like it introduced Flexo, who was a really old comic book character. He was a robot that was made of flexible metal. Well, Al Ewing retconned it that he was actually a symbiote. And the flexible metal was a symbiote. Okay. And, he had these, like, he would take out bad guys, but it never showed how he did that in the original books. And in the new books, in the new Venom issues, it showed him eating them.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, oh, he's a monster, but it's just designed to look like a robot. And that's cool, but again, it's just like, who is Flexo? Like,
right.
I don't think we're old enough. Like, I'm 24, and I'm not old enough to know who that is.
Right, and I'm going to be 27 this week. And
you probably don't know either.
I have no idea. I think I've maybe seen a panel somewhere. And it's like, it goes into that thing of like, sure, Al he's an older guy, and he pulls inspiration from different areas, but it's kind of like those aren't really relevant anymore. Right.
Like it Flexo isn't a character that anybody like. He came back for a while and became some soldier guy, But like again, it just feels like, oh, when I was little, I read Flexo, so now I'm gonna play with that,
Right.
and get all the kids into Flexo. And everybody's like, can we just read about Venom?
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care about Flexo the robot,
Right.
you know. I don't know. It was interesting when it came out. I did think it was pretty cool when it came out. But
then since it didn't really go anywhere, and he kind of had a cop out.
yeah.
Maybe
it did. It literally didn't go anywhere. If Flexo was just another character in the story, and then again the book just became it became Eddie Brock talking to this weird Venom hand that had like 5 lit fingers, and every time he asked it a question, one of the fingers would go out, and then it ended with them entering in. It was time for the Venom War, which they had teased a long time ago.
Right.
And the tease in the free comic book day was literally in the garden, and it looked like Dylan had put a symbiote team together to fight Eddie and all the different Eddies to pull him out. That's what it looked like. And but this new story was them in a wrestling arena, and they're doing like screwdrivers and like all these weird. I'm not a WWE fan, so I'm not super big into wrestling. So like, but if you do want to listen to people who are into wrestling, go to Real Takes and you'll hear a lot of. We did a review on Santa with muscles, and we talked about wrestling, and I didn't know what we were talking about the whole time. Anyway,
Dylan and Eddie are like wrestling, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's him!" It's
yeah, it was like, and the wrestling arenas were literally on the side of the arena going, "It's Eddie Brock Venom," and it's just like, what is happening? What is this? Did Al just start watching old WWE videos and go, "Oh, let's put this in the book"? Like, what? And then the whole deal with the anti-Carnage thing, right? That's still like that's the reason why Venom is gold right now.
Okay.
Was because Dylan Brock from the future came in and was like, "I'm gonna help you, young Dylan, because my future needs it." And he goes back in time to a book where Spider-Man from like the 60s is fighting Molten Man, and he gets Molten Man's blood, and then he infuses that with some stuff from Loki to make the Ernak, which again is Carnage spelled backwards, and he shoots Venom with it, making him gold. And it's like, and it's like, Carnage isn't even the main villain, it's Meridius.
Yeah.
And then they bring these symbiotes in. That's just like, what does that have to do with anything?
Right.
Like, they did a cool thing with Lee Price. Like, a symbiote went and revived
Lee Price.
Lee Price's body, and he was like a zombie symbiote, which was cool. And
That's
the art
cool.
was sick. The art was so awesome. But making that an event, it just felt like Marvel was making him make an event, because it was an event like Venom War was. But again, I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, the first half was good and it had an idea, but we lost the plot.
We lost it.
I don't know. So also, you have a question on here. I didn't want to ignore it. It said, "Divided is crazy. He's Marvel's best writer other than Hickman." Well, buddy, I got some news for you. If you like old Al Ewing and you like Jonathan Hickman, pick up Ultimate Spider-Man and Venom and have yourself a heyday.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to keep reading my Venom bus of...
Go back to episode 1 and 2.
And you want to hear our opinions on Jonathan Hickman, go back to episodes 1 and 2 where we review Ultimate Spider-Man twice.
Lore loving Paul.
Yeah, I actually love my lore. Watch, someone's going to be like, well, actually, those text bubbles that Venom says, it actually appears, and someone's going to call me out. It's okay if you do and you know more. Congratulations. I'll put it in the book and we'll, whatever.
So one of the points that I do think is actually kind of worth bringing up is somebody said this. Would it be fair to assume that Editorial had a big hand in making MJ Venom and anything that has to do with Spidey in the last couple of years? It seems good writers do really insane things when it comes to that specific cast of characters. And it feels like the case of Heroes in Crisis, where the higher-ups want huge money-grabbing ideas like, oh, what if MJ was Venom? Wouldn't that sell like hotcakes? And force the writers to put them down. I feel like down the line, we're going to hear more behind the scene of why Spidey in particular has been so messy.
I mean, maybe. I think, like... I definitely think it's a thing of, like, they're trying to make money. Like, Editorial's definitely trying to make money, because when All New Venom first came out, the whole premise of those first 5 issues was like, who is Venom? It's either Luke Cage or Madam Mask or Robbie Robertson or Rick Jones. And it's like, okay, none of those characters are related to Venom whatsoever. Maybe Robbie Robertson. If you like, I was hoping he would be, because he's the only one who's like, I could maybe see it.
Yeah.
But he just works at the Daily Bugle, where we're going to see Venom talking to J. Jonah Jameson all day. You know,
I want pictures of Spider-Man.
No, you want pictures of Venom. You want Venom. We are best. We are the coolest. Are you sure?
That's perfect.
But I don't know. I definitely think editorial does. But that's the thing, man. Is editorial shouldn't be telling writers like I mean, editorial could provide suggestions, right?
Right.
If a writer's telling a story, an editorial's job really is to be like, okay, well, how does this work?
Right.
How do you're gonna have Null be the King in Black, and you're gonna have him wield the Necro Sword. Where does he get the Necro Sword from? Because what's his name in Thor had it? Gore. Yeah, Gore had it, and so how does he get it? Well, actually, he had it first, and Gore took it from him.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's. Editorial should be asking questions and the writers should be writing. The editorial shouldn't say, well, we need to do this or we need to do something like this. Well, we need to do that. You know, editorial should be guiding the writers to write a better story and make sure everything is accurate, because comic fans are going to point it out.
Yeah.
Comic fans are going to be like, well, hey, that's not accurate. You know, I'm actually, you know, we do that. We just do. We can't help it because we've been reading everything. They should just hire all of us. Right. That's what I'm saying. But yeah. Hey, Marvel, you want a good Venom book? Hire me, please. I will fix it. I promise. I've already know how I would do it.
I can fix her.
Yeah, I can fix her. I literally can fix her. But I'd probably break her. But anyway, but like, I definitely think that's the case. I definitely think that's what they're doing when they're making those decisions, because they're doing like they're doing the bait of like, okay, like everybody wants to know who Venom is, so everybody's now interested, and people are picking up the book because they want to know who it is. Because a lot of people wanted it to be Luke Cage,
right?
You know, which I think is okay, but what does he have to do with Venom? Especially after everything Donnie did, right? Like,
right?
How? Why? Where? What is that going to?
And isn't Luke Cage currently the mayor of New York City in the comics?
He is. I think he is. I think he still is. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Which I guess would have been cool, but I don't know. I just like, but they knocked him off right there first. Like he was in the first issue. They were like, "Oh, it's not Luke Cage," you know. Or I think so. It was either in the first or the second. No, the first it wasn't Luke Cage. The second, it wasn't Madam Mask. The third, it wasn't Rick Jones, and it was down to Robbie and MJ, or Robbie and maybe a possible fifth person, and then you find out it's MJ.
Okay. So really, it seems like this series is based on gimmicks.
It feels like it.
What we can sell, what can we market. And that goes with this person who said he killed Paul and dunked on him before he did it. So he gets a pass. But really...
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
but,
I don't know.
But even with like killing Paul, it's a gimmick.
Right. Because
we're going to do these big events. They're going to get spoiled in advance. So you will come and buy this book and people will talk about it.
Yeah. And I literally who is Venom? That was the first gimmick, right? It's Mary Jane. That's the second gimmick. The third gimmick was, oh my gosh, MJ and Paul broke up.
Right.
They're breaking up. Okay. The fourth gimmick, someone's back. Null is back. He's returned. And it literally just was a 3-page teaser at the end of an issue that literally went nowhere.
Right.
Or it led to the Null book, which I've been meaning to read it to actually review it. I might just wait till it's over because we're one issue away from it being completely over. So I might just read all 5. It's 5 issues, so I might read them all and then just do a whole review of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But like Null was coming back, and like I was getting excited, and I thought they were going to announce Donny Cates was coming back, and I was literally like, please fix this.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's actually his most negatively reviewed book out of the series was 250, because that was the one that had Null coming back, because everybody's like, oh, okay, so you're literally just copying Marvel Rivals and you brought him back for like 3 pages.
Right.
Cool. Like that was a big, like it's clickbait.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what this series seems like.
And then was I on 4 or 5?
I think you were on 4.
Okay, 5. The 5th gimmick was the 252 Spider-Man look. Oh, well, Venom is now rocking the Spider-Man look, which was so dumb. It made no sense, because originally, which actually Web of Venom came out this week, which we have a new host for that version of Venom, and it's freaking Boomerang.
Just in time for Brand New Day.
Yeah, hey, we got to pick a new character. Hey, who's in the barrel of the characters we don't use? Pick just cover your eyes and pick one. You know, but I think the design looks cool, but the whole premise of that Spider-Man Venom was supposed to be a Secret Wars thing,
right?
Where it was a version of a version of Peter Parker from an alternate reality that bonded with Venom. It was actually Peter Brock was his name.
Okay.
Or Eddie. No, it was Eddie Parker. I think it's Eddie Parker.
Okay.
And he bonds with a symbiote that looks like the Spider-Man suit, and he is this version of Venom.
Okay.
Which I think that's a cool
That's
concept.
a cool concept.
But you introduced it at the end of a Venomverse book, or at the end of a book, and then, or no, it was the end of 252.
Okay.
They introduced it for like a short story, and then every time you see him again, it's either, I guess now it's going to be Boomerang.
Right.
But then Al liked the idea so much that he put it in the main run and made MJ look like Spider-Man.
For one issue, right?
For 2 issues. And then the issue after that, it literally goes back without even asking anything about it. It was so stupid because when it was awful, because even that version of Venom called himself Spider-Man. He lands behind Doc Ock, because Doc Ock is the main villain of those books.
Yeah.
And he goes, Doc Ock goes, "Who are you?" And like the sun is behind him, so you can't see him. It's just a silhouette. And then Venom goes, "Who am I? You sure you want to know?"
Oh my gosh.
Which if you've watched Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire in it, that's literally a line in the movie. And then he reveals himself to be a Spider-Man Venom, and he says, "I'm Spider-Man." And I'm like, what is this garbage? What are y'all doing?
Oh, man.
So that was the 5th gimmick. The 6th gimmick was, let's see. Well, they had, they were doing Death Spiral.
Well, Death
I guess
Spiral
Paul's
itself is...
Death Spiral
being
a crossover between Carnage, Venom, and Spider-Man. But I guess the 6th gimmick is Paul's death.
Right.
And that leads us to future stuff, which we got Queen in Black coming.
Right.
I think that's actually coming after Death Spiral, where we have Hela, who is the Queen in Black, and she's just going to do what Null did again. And then hopefully Al will say, "I'm done," and leave the book. I'm hoping that's how this ends.
Hope so.
But what I'm not looking forward to with this book is they're doing a blind bag release for it, which I don't like.
Well,
bags.
that's another gimmick.
And it's it's a gimmick. It's, hey, buy a blind bag, see what cover you get.
Yeah.
It's like, I like to just buy my covers. I don't want to do a blind bag. I want cover A because Ryan Stegman drew it, and that's all I want. But now I'm going to have to buy a blind bag, and I'm probably going to get Scotty Young and be like, give me Ryan Stegman.
No disrespect to Scotty Young.
No disrespect to Scotty. Yeah, but I've met him a couple times. He's cool. But I just... It's gimmicks. It's all gimmicks.
Right.
This whole thing is like it's gimmick after gimmick to get people to buy it, and people are finally at this point where they're just like, I don't care. I'm done. Like, I just want this book to be good. Because again, Venom, like Donny Cates' Venom, it had 2 events. It had Absolute Carnage, which wasn't supposed to be an event. It was supposed to just be like
a self-contained story. Yeah.
And Marvel wanted it to be a bigger thing, which was cool. But they had that, and then like King in Black was supposed to be the big event, which makes sense because it takes place all over the world.
Right.
So like that's how an event's supposed to be. That's how Civil War was. That's how King in Black is. That's how like other things were supposed to. Like it's not, an event isn't just like, oh, we need to do an event 2 times a year to sell books. We need to do it to like because it's meaningful to the story.
Right.
Because that's what sells.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's that opinion. There's that question. Question number 2.
Yeah. So we'll wrap up our Al Ewing conversation.
Sorry, I've carried along for probably over an hour.
No, it's all right. So we'll wrap it up with one last comment, and this is one that I really wanted you to reply to because this is, I think, something you might agree with, and you can kind of flesh out your thoughts a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So somebody said, "So how did she, MJ, get over her trauma here? She bonded with the symbiote and just accepted it. And when they finally talked only for 1 issue over their problems, turns out she's more mad at Eddie than the symbiote, even though she would know what Eddie has been through. She would sympathize as well. So the trauma was more ignored to get the plot along. And funny, you want to act like you know character development when editorial has been ruining MJ's character for nearly 20 years. But hey, what would I know? I just read comics."
You are correct. You are very correct. Because that's literally... That's my thing, right? And that's something that was in this new issue of Amazing Spider-Man, which was the Death Spiral Part 7, was that MJ and Eddie have this conversation because Eddie's like, I guess, almost dying in the hospital because he unbonded with Carnage, because that's how that works now.
Okay.
And literally, MJ's like you're always trying to better yourself and you keep sucking. Like, do better. And then she gets the suit back on and she says, "We're leaving you." And then they walk away. Her, like, Venom, them as Venom. And that's literally my point, right? You have MJ, and this is where this could be interesting. MJ, who has such trauma with this character, she made Peter throw the black suit out,
Right.
Because the fake black costume that Black Cat made it for him, I think.
I think so.
She made him throw it out after the first fight with Venom, because who was the first person Venom ran into? MJ.
Yep.
MJ was the first person in comic books to see Venom.
Yeah.
I think before us, you
Right.
know, like, so right there, you have this immense trauma with this character, because now Spider-Man's villains are attacking in the home.
Right.
Venom has no effect on Spider-Man's spider sense, so that's scary, and like, it's terrifying. It's
Right.
literally an image of her boyfriend with a mouth,
Right.
and teeth and a tongue.
Right.
Like, that's terrifying, and she has all this trauma. Anytime
Well, they were married at the point, so it's her
they
husband.
were married. It was her husband. You're right. And like, you've got that. You had 800, right? There was that point in 800 where Venom came to save Mary Jane, and Mary Jane was like freaking out because she hates the symbiote.
Right.
And then like, Venom gives the suit to Peter to go fight Red Goblin, and you know, even MJ's like, I don't know if you should be bonding with that. Like, she
Right.
hates the symbiote.
Right.
So the fact that she is forced to bond with it, right? Here's the first thing I would have done. Is MJ is a very attractive character. Her
Right.
whole premise is that she's hot and she knows it, and like, she no one can put their hands on her, right? Like, she makes her decisions. She's a confident woman. She's powerful, hot, and strong, right? Immediately strip that from her. When she has to be bonded with an alien that lives inside of her, give her this major like body dysmorphia.
Right.
Right? Like, she don't feel like she's hot or powerful anymore, right? Take that away from her. She doesn't have any privacy. They make a joke about it in one of the first all new Venom issues that whenever Paul finds out that she's Venom, he's like, is this why we haven't like been doing things in the bedroom anymore? And she's like, yeah, because, you know, I've got this inside of me, you know, like this, there's someone else in my head.
Right.
That's why, and it's a joke.
Right.
But in reality, it's like, if you can't be romantic with your partner, that's a huge problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now imagine, like, she can't be romantic with Paul. She doesn't feel good about how she looks. She doesn't feel good about how she walks. Like, everything about her is just ruined.
And that's what this book should be.
Yeah.
It should be like examining trauma. That would be the theme of the book.
Yeah.
Is like, how does somebody who has experienced severe trauma now have to live with something who is always attached to you?
And it can talk in her head anytime it wants.
It can say whatever it wants.
She doesn't even have privacy anymore. Right? She can't even take a relaxing bath without the symbiote just talking to her constantly. So she is in the most uncomfortable place she could ever be in.
But they joke about it.
And they joke about it. There's no character development. And like, what if the symbiote fed on that? Right? All that negative emotion that's now building up in MJ. Where's that? Why don't we see that? Paul dying shouldn't, like, well, first of all, them breaking up should not be this amazing thing.
Right.
It should be traumatic.
Even if you see that panel of them breaking up, the sun is
sun's
like shining.
coming,
Yeah.
The sun's coming through, and it's like this amazing, like, moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, that shouldn't be the case. They're breaking up.
Yeah.
Everybody's been through a breakup, and it doesn't look like that.
No, not at
you
all.
know? And like, it like, if anything, Paul should have broke up. Like, if she's having these negative things, right? Paul should have broke up with her, because he's like, who are you? Right? Make Paul a douchebag. Be like, hey, you won't sleep with me. You're not like dressing hot anymore. I don't want this.
Right.
And dip.
Yeah.
Right there solves the Paul problem.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and I think that there's so many amazing things that there could have been with MJ being Venom. Like, that is a interesting thing to try, and that is an interesting story to tell. But there's nothing here. She's just Venom. She has there's no problem with it. She's just a boss queen who's got an alien on her, and she's just having a good time.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, and imagine the symbiote. The symbiote knows Peter.
Right.
Like, imagine that in her head. Like if she kisses Paul, she's like, oh, do you think Peter would like this?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no one wants to hear that.
Right.
I don't know. It's just like, Al missed so many opportunities with this decision. And like, this could have been amazing, but this isn't a Venom book anymore.
No.
Venom is not Venom. This is the hey, we've got all the people from Spider-Man that nobody likes. We got to do something with them. well, Venom's whatever. Let's just throw him in that book, and that'll be their book.
Right.
Because no one's a fan of this dynamic of all these
Right.
things, right? No one's a fan of Venom being whatever it is with straight teeth that are nice and not pointy.
Right.
No one's a fan of the gold look. No one's a fan of MJ being Venom. I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there, but there's nothing interesting. There's
Right.
no
There's
sugar.
no character development.
Yeah, there's no character development. There's
Yeah.
nothing. This is like the Rey Skywalker syndrome where she's just perfect and she knows, like, how does she know how to control it?
Right.
Like, the symbiote
Just
should be
woke up
walking
one
all
morning?
over with her because
Yeah.
she don't know what she's doing.
That has a specific term for it.
I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh.
Isn't it Daisy something?
No, I know what you're thinking. It's Mary Sue.
Mary Sue.
The Mary
yes,
Sue effect.
Where
Where it's like she's perfect and nothing needs to happen.
Yeah.
Like character, like we've never seen MJ go through that. Let's see that. Let's explore that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm not saying, like, I know body dysmorphia is a huge thing, but
Right.
like Mary Jane knows how hot she is.
But
she knows what she is
in today's
and,
world, how relatable would a story about body dysmorphia be?
Exactly. Like, imagine all the people reading that being like, I know what that feels like. Oh my gosh, this hot character that I've never related to, she's feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that. Like the potential is immense and it's huge, and they dropped the ball on
Right.
it. I don't know. I think Al could have done a way better job with this. I do think Editorial has their hands tightly wrapped around Venom.
Right.
But if Al just, like, because it feels like he doesn't care about this book. It feels like he's just writing it. He's writing it every week. It's just to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, if you're tired, just drop it.
Right.
Like, I would rather the book stop being made than just nothing come out of it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
There's my full-fledged opinion on Venom. I vomited all over the table. Our equipment's ruined. Like, I've...
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Well, let's move from something we didn't like to something we do like.
Spaghetti.
Yes.
I love spaghetti.
I really love...
Wait, we're doing... Wait, we're doing... Huh.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about
Yeah.
today. So the last few episodes have come out,
Mm-hmm.
and we watched. So episode 5 came out last week.
Yes.
Episode 6 this week.
Yes.
Spoilers, as Paul has been
Full
talking about.
spoilers.
Spaghetti everywhere.
There's spaghetti all over the place.
Oh
yeah.
man, episode 5. Oh, it's so good.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, my first comments on the show this season was, I was like, oh, this definitely isn't my favorite season. I don't think it still is.
Okay.
But these 2 episodes that have come out were really good.
Yes.
These 2 were probably the best episodes so far out of the season.
okay.
I think they're very close with the Viltrumite story. With
Okay.
what's the
With
the
Nolan,
Scourge,
the Scourge virus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was a pretty strong episode.
Yes.
But these 2 were
These 2 are
gosh.
good. Now this episode 6 was a little bit slower, but I still really enjoyed it. And we are in the Invincible War story
Yes.
arc, which is incredible. So that means that Nolan, Mark, and Oliver, they are going with the coalition of planets to fight this Viltrumite war. There's only there's less than 50 pure-blooded Viltrumites left in the universe, and they're going to stop them.
Yeah.
This is a threat. I can't even do the Optimus voice, Peter Cullen's voice. But
Real quick, whenever we were programming our soundboard, we'd have a soundboard. That's what all these sounds you're hearing are.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Yes,
so
I'm sure.
when we were programming the soundboard, the Transformers one of the we're now back to the Transformers. It kicked back up with well, I don't know what Transformer
it was an episode from the 80s where they get shrunk down and they're action figures and Starscream's getting picked up and he goes, "Ah!"
I was tempted to leave it in. Just it was so loud.
Said no, because poor headphone users, your poor eardrums would be busted, and I didn't want to do that to you because we do want you to continue to listen to the show.
yeah, you can't do that without your ears.
Yes. So,
but yes, Invincible. But
man,
oh my gosh.
that's just going to continue to be
It
a
is,
thing.
yeah.
I hope you know that. So, anyways, we were talking about that, and episode 5. So
Yes,
they're
yeah.
all going, and they get surprised by 3 Viltrumites.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being Conquest.
Conquest is back. Because freaking Cecil, who is dead.
Yes.
Like, he's cooked next time Mark comes back to Earth.
Sorry, Sea Salt.
Yeah, Cecil. Cecil! Cecil! We should make that a button.
Need you! Cecil! But anyways, so he let Conquest heal up, and Conquest came back. And funny story, I'm doing a post in a couple of weeks about fun facts about Invincible. And one of those fun facts about Invincible is that Robert Kirkman loved the design of Conquest so much that Conquest was supposed to die in that original fight with Mark.
Oh,
But he loved the design so much, he's like, I'm going to bring him back.
That's cool.
So he brought him back
cool.
for this fight. And we see everybody fighting. Mm-hmm. Oliver he's kind of struggling in space because he's never really had to first fly in space. The first half of the episode is kind of slow. It's a little, they're building up and then it just explodes and the animation like changes like that. You can see it. Yeah. The moment that Conquest enters in.
Yes, yeah. The production value. Yeah. I was thinking of the shot of Oliver and then it's just boom. Like he's about to dunk on him.
So Mark says he's gonna kill Conquest, and he goes for the throat. Yeah. He does not do the Thor thing. He goes straight for the head. Yeah. And Mark is holding on to his throat while he is just taking a beating from Conquest. Yeah. And man, this whole fight is awesome. It's one of the coolest fights I think I've ever seen in Invincible.
That's something really quick that Robert Kirkman does so well. Yes. Is he set up a this when you see Conquest, you know that like, oh my gosh, like you tense up because you know how hard he is to beat. Yes. So even when he comes back again in this fight, you're just like immediately you're like, oh my gosh, like look what he did last time. Like what's he gonna do?
How is Mark gonna win this? Yeah. And I told you because we talked after that episode.
We did. I called you and I was like, oh my god.
And you're like, dude,
spaghetti.
Yeah. Funny enough, me and Gabriella, my wife, had Italian the next day. So that's all I could think about. I did not order spaghetti. But so when we were talking on the phone, that's what you said. You said when Conquest shows up, something big is about to happen. Yeah. And I said, just wait till Thrag.
You did say that, and I haven't read the books, and I'm not. I'm all about the show. I'm just watching the show. I don't want to read the books until like if I get through the show and it's over, then I'll read the books. Right. But Thrag is he's intense already.
Yes, already.
Yeah, he's got a hard presence, but still, to me, who hasn't read this, still not as big as Conquest. Conquest, anytime you see Conquest, it's almost just like you can't breathe because you're like, oh shoot, right. Yeah.
Speaking of not being able to breathe, so Mark is holding on to his throat, and he is taking a beating like a champ. And dude, I am locked in. Yeah, you're locked in for that fight because it just shows the raw power of the Viltrumites. Yes, and Mark is he is taking it like a champ, man.
Yeah, and he's not letting go of the throat. He says, "You will never breathe again." Is what he says. Yeah.
Oh man, it's so sick. And he ends up choking him out. Yes. And right as Conquest is about to die, he does the good old Viltrumite chop.
Yep, the Viltrumite karate hand.
Yeah, straight through Mark's stomach. Yep. And he just pulls out his intestines. And man, it is hard to watch. Even Robert Kirkman, I don't know if you've seen that. Robert Kirkman and the production team said that is still for them the hardest scene to watch.
Because it doesn't stop. Like Mark, like I think eventually like Mark, he gets strangled so much that Conquest falls back, right? And even then, like he's just pulling his intestines out, like, and you see it from the back. So you see his arms like stretching out to the side, holding intestines, and you're just like, oh my gosh! And then it shows like these close-ups and of just he's not stopping, and he's slowing down. Yeah. Right, he's definitely like he's passing out, but even then it's slower, and it hurts because
Stephen Ewing, the voice actor for Mark, is so good.
He does such a good job because his moans are just so like they're high pitched. Like he doesn't like what else do you sound like when you're getting your intestines pulled out? I saw a clip on Instagram that said they actually pulled his intestines out for that audio. Like they had to actually pull his intestines out in the recording studio. It was just
so for Walking Dead fans, I've never watched Walking Dead, but I
watched a little bit. It's long.
So Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays one of the bad guys.
He plays Negan.
Negan, yes.
Negan,
and
yes.
he kills Stephen Ewan's character.
Yep.
And so I've seen a lot of people, and he apparently kills him pretty brutally too.
Yeah, he has a baseball bat full of nails, and he bashes his head in right in front of his wife.
Oh man.
Yeah, and they're all like on their knees, like with their hands tied, watching this happen.
So I saw that this was payback.
Yeah.
This was Glenn's payback.
Yeah, this was Glenn's payback.
But it cost him.
Yeah.
And that's how the episode ends. Mark is laying there with his intestines ripped out, saying,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah.
me."
He's like his hands up and he's shaking. And
Yeah.
that's the shittiest way to end, man.
Yes.
Like, cause I'm sitting there like, what just happened? Like, I'm
Right.
like, how? Like, this is it. Like, he's dead.
And you are
he's so dead.
It's like a crazy feeling because you are tense.
You are
You
so
are
tense. Yeah.
Like I'm locked in. You don't even know what's happening around you because that episode was just so. You were so pulled in.
Yeah. And you feel it.
And
like,
you feel it in your body.
Yeah. Like, because I remember when I watched it, like, I couldn't look away.
Yeah.
And I hated that I had to watch it.
Right.
Because, like, I was like thinking back about it, just how disgusted I
Yeah.
felt. But I couldn't stop watching.
Right.
Because you're like, what is like, is he going to die? Is
Yeah.
Conquest going to die? Because if he lets go for a second, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, he's dead, and Conquest wins. And Conquest is going to go back and kill Eve, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
oh,
But Mark,
such a good episode.
But Conquest dies.
Conquest does die.
Episode 6 comes out today.
And Nolan buries him. That's one
Yeah,
of the first things it
buries
shows that
Nolan-
he buries him.
Conquest.
And Oliver's like, why would you even do that?
Yeah.
He's like, he was a good Viltrumite. You know,
Yeah.
he was loyal. So, you know, he deserves a burial.
Mm-hmm.
And even I'm sitting here like, man, screw you, Nolan. Like,
Yeah.
fuck you. Like, that's not, you know, like, no. No, he doesn't deserve a burial.
Yeah.
You know, he's an awful dude.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you see throughout the episode, Nolan and Oliver have to bond.
Yes. They're stuck on this planet until Invincible. I'm not gonna push the button again.
No.
I was about to. Until Invincible heals.
Right.
And which this is me being like that wouldn't actually happen, but like I can't imagine like how he's healing.
Yeah.
His intestines were ripped out. Like brother's never gonna poop normally again. You know what I
I
mean?
didn't even think about that.
like did Nolan just put him back and be like, okay? Like I don't know. Like this is actually a real story that I had heard, that there was a kid who I don't know what happened, but he had somehow fallen on a lawnmower blade, and it it actually cut him open, and all of that happened to him. And his mom tried to save him by putting his intestines back in his body, and he healed. But he got major infections from like the outside stuff being a part. Like, so I guess it's possible to survive that, but like I kept thinking about that story,
Right.
because I had heard like, it's a real thing that had happened. So like I kept thinking back to that story of like how he got infected and whatever, and I'm like, how is Mark just like
I think those those Viltrumite healing factor, the way they're just built is just different.
Yeah.
And Nolan seems to know a lot.
He does. Yeah.
And being able to kind of heal Viltrumite wounds.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think. That was probably very important that he used his cape to wrap up Mark's wound to try to allow him to heal, to keep it all together.
I never realized that was his cape.
Yep,
Okay,
that was
I
his
see
cape.
that. I see it. Yeah. Okay.
And
I just thought he bled a crap ton, but also like
Yeah.
where would they have bandage out
Right.
there? Yeah, no, I get it.
so they have to bond while Invincible heals.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, the war continues.
Mm-hmm.
The Viltrumite war continues. And we see a lot of fighting happening. We see Alan and Space Rider and Tech Jacket go to war against some Viltrumites. But the big thing is that that Oliver, I keep doing that.
Yeah.
Oliver and Nolan are bond.
Yeah.
And they kind of rebuild that relationship. There's a kind of a funny moment where Oliver is talking about a time when their mom, Debbie, took them to a restaurant and he saw a beautiful blue lobster and it just made him sizzling inside. And Nolan's like, sizzling. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
In case you've not read Invincible.
Yep.
I won't say anything else there.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So,
I unfortunately know about that.
So, anyways, so that happens, and then Invincible gets better.
Mm.
They then go fight the war.
Well, Invincible wakes up and
Yes.
they come back and he's gone.
Yes.
And the first thing Invincible did was, because Nolan and Oliver were out getting food,
Right.
or fishing or whatever,
Right.
that Mark thought that he didn't kill. He didn't think he killed
Conquest,
Conquest, and he thought that he had died or whatever, and that Conquest killed his parent. He killed Nolan and Oliver.
Yeah.
So he walks back over to where he's buried, and he just stands there and looks at it. And I'm surprised he didn't, like, my expectation was he's going to pick up one of them rocks and just drop it on the grave.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he was going to make sure he's dead.
Right.
Like, because, I mean, what do you do after that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So he goes there, and they learn that he's okay. Invincible has grown a beard.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of my beard, I guess.
We've
Because
all-
you have a nice beard. My brown beard's okay.
You got a little goatee going. It's good. It looks real good.
Well, anyways, so they go to the planet, the main planet,
Yeah.
For the coalition of planets. Thrag and the Viltrumites attack,
Yes.
and they have to fend off the attack. They end up destroying the main ship, and Thrag and his remaining Viltrumites retreat back to Viltrum. They kind of stop the war. That was an intense scene too.
That was really intense. Yeah.
It felt like a war, and where's my air support? Come on.
Yeah.
And that was good. Those were good moments. And the episode ends with Thaddeus, aka Optimus Prime, aka Peter Cullen,
Yeah.
saying that the only way to end this war is to go to Viltrum and to stop them before they can regroup.
Yeah.
And then the episode ends. But I will say the post-credit scene, they got me on this one.
The post-credit scene was so good.
They're playing dramatic music, and
Yeah.
they go back to the burial of Conquest,
And
and
it's
they're
zooming in.
in.
I was watching it, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's still freaking alive. And
Yes.
they do like a super big close-up, like
Yes.
you're waiting for like the rock to crack.
And that music is playing, and then it just zooms out, and it's like...
Yeah, it zooms out and it's just nothing, no
Yeah,
sound or nothing. It's like,
nothing.
yep, he's dead. We got you. And I was like, oh, you ass. Oh,
they
like,
definitely
got
got
me.
me.
They got me too. I was like, because I was thinking, they're not. Cause I think about this stuff in like a film perspective. I'm like, oh, like they're not gonna, like he's definitely coming back. Like he's alive. Like,
Right.
That would be they would not psych me out here.
Yeah.
And then they literally did right after, and I was like. That's funny.
They had us in the first half, not
they,
gonna lie.
They had me. You got me. I was like, oh my God, brother, you should have dropped the rock on him. You should have ripped him in half. You should have killed him. You should have made sure he was in pieces all over the galaxy.
I think I would agree with you. These last two episodes are definitely some of my favorites, especially...
Yeah.
I forget that. I just try to pretend that episode where they were in hell just didn't exist.
I still didn't hate that. Like
The
even
more I think
even
about it, the
looking,
more I'm like, I don't like it.
even looking back, like it didn't, especially because I haven't read it, it didn't bother me. It did feel like a lot of a scene that, like, looking, because you showed me that issue and
Right.
it showed me that it doesn't happen at all.
Right.
And like, I don't know. To me, it didn't bother me. It felt like it was an extra thing that just was like, eh. Like, what did we even need this for?
Yes.
Because this is the stuff you want to see, right? Like,
Right.
I want to see them fighting the Viltrumites. I want to see, Nolan and like Nolan trying to rebuild his connection with like the world,
Yeah.
because he, there was something we missed was that when he was talking, he went to see
yes.
Debbie again, and he had said like, oh, like because what was Oliver's mom's name?
Gosh, I can only think of the planet, Thraxia. I cannot think of her name. It starts... Anyways, his bug mom.
His bug mom.
His bug mom.
Oliver's mom's
And
name.
so
hang on,
he-
wait, I got it. Wait. Maria.
Okay.
Maria? I don't know. Maria, and she literally says like, he says like, Maria was just like an accident, like that should have never happened to Debbie, and Oliver revealed to Nolan like, hey, I was there, I heard you say
Right.
all that. Do you really not care about my mom?
Yeah.
Because that's his mom,
Right.
Like that's still that's still a big thing for this character, and Nolan is like, he said, I just was trying to say the right thing to Debbie, is what I was trying to do. He's like, I didn't, and Nolan's continuously like having these, he's trying to rebuild.
He's trying to do better.
Yeah, he's trying to rebuild his connection with society, and when he does that, no one will reject him. There's even that scene where he meets with the costume guy, and he says like,
I only do heroes.
I only make costumes for heroes. And that's like you can't help but like, because I'm rewatching it with my girlfriend. She's not seen Invincible, so I'm rewatching it with her, and I'm rewatching season 1, and I'm just like, I can't. I'm remembering how much I hated this guy.
Yeah.
And looking at these new episodes, I'm like, he's so cool though. Like
Yeah.
he's because he mentioned like on their planet on Thraxia, they forgive very easily, right?
Because
they
their
don't-
lifespans are
yeah.
so short.
They don't look in the past. They only look on the future.
Right.
And I think that was a really cool thing of like that's wow,
Yeah.
I guess that looks at us as a civilization as like, oh, we really look back on the past a lot. So
Yeah. But overall, very good episodes.
I thought these were really good episodes.
Yeah.
I think these are the best out of the season. I think I'm excited for what's to come. I know we've got 2 more episodes left.
2 more episodes.
So I'm very excited.
We're going to have a big week in 2 weeks because in 2 weeks will be the finale and the next Superman Spider-Man crossover.
It will be, yes. And then I think, is next week Absolute Batman?
I think Absolute Batman is next week
I think
as well.
it is next week, yeah.
So-
Which, real quick, do we want to talk about the reveal? They revealed
We
the
can, yeah.
Absolute Batman 20 cover.
It
which
was
is
redacted previously. It was the
Robin's
Robin
redacted.
R.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there are Robin mechs.
Yes.
There's 3 Robins on the ground and one in like a looks like almost like a medical mech outfit,
Yeah.
and then there's a big one.
Looks straight out of Pacific Rim.
Looks very Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Not what I expected, but
Definitely
cool.
not what I expected.
Yeah. What do
I
you think about
expected the Teen Titans Go Robin where he's super buff.
I've seen that. I've seen that. The picture of him just like, dude, Absolute Batman don't stand a chance. Like absolute Joker is scared of him.
Yeah. The mechs are definitely not what I expected. I think they have potential. I can honestly say that of all the reveals so far, the one that kind of interests me the least is the Absolute Robins.
I'll say that too. I agree with that.
Maybe I didn't expect Robin to be like a monster or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but I did not expect mechs.
I
That
didn't
kind
either,
of
yeah.
feels almost off. in
It
this
feels out of
universe.
place just a little bit.
Yeah.
Now again,
I'll
we
give it a
don't-
chance.
Yeah, we got to give it a chance.
Everything else has been great, so
Yeah.
there's probably a reason why Scott Snyder decided to do this. So I'm in for the long haul.
I am
So
too.
whatever he wants to do, I'm game.
Yeah. me too.
He almost certainly has a good reason for doing this.
Yeah.
Which again, how are you going to fight the Demon Joker if you don't have
A mech.
a giant robot?
You might have to have a mech to
Yeah.
fight Demon Joker, but honestly, I don't even know if that's enough. I'm ready for that fight. I'm ready
just
for that fight
need
so
a
bad.
priest.
Yeah, pray.
Yeah.
Pray that you're gonna survive. Yeah, I think that's really everything.
That's
for,
all
for
we got this
So,
week.
sorry, I got on a big Venom rant there.
That's exactly what we. That's
We did
that's the
plan on-
purpose of this episode.
I did. I called Clayton a couple days ago, and I was like, I think it's finally time to voice my opinions on Venom and how much I hate this new stuff. And he was like, okay,
Let's go for it.
Let's do it. But next week, I think what we have next, we have Absolute Batman next
and
week
Invincible.
and Invincible. Yeah, we'll have another episode of Invincible, and then I think another Death Spiral issue, which I might wait and cover
Okay.
all of those when
Until
it's
it's in
finished, because
conclusion.
we've got, I think, 2 more issues until it's done, so I
Okay.
might just wait it out. I might, I don't know. But it's not a lot didn't happen in this issue that came out this week.
Okay.
So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for listening.
I'm Clayton.
I'm Paul, and you're
And
listening to
Beyond the
Pull
Pull
List
List podcast.
podcast.
Are you sure?